Greetings internet, it's Monica, and today I am so excited because I am coming at you guys with a new favorites video. I decided to from now on title my favorites my darlings because honestly I just think it's cuter than saying my favorites. I'll probably be doing these seasonally of just things that I have been loving. So without further ado, let's jump on in. First, I want to talk about my bookish favorite. So the real favorite for this past winter season that I want to talk about is definitely the Diviners series by Libba Bray. I have been rereading the original 3 books in this series with 2 of my best friends here on BookTube, Emma and Sarah, for our Diviners read along, and it has been so fun. I have just loved getting to do the Diviners Club with both of them and getting to talk about the Diviners with all of you guys who have participated in that. And it's been really amazing just to go back because I've read these books, you know, the first 2 books I read years and years and years ago, it feels. And so it was really cool just to go back and rediscover them and see how my opinions on them have changed, because my opinions have very drastically, or not, I guess not that drastically, but I definitely have changed opinions on the books that I like the most and the things I thought were the most successful when I first read them versus now when I read them. And I am currently in the midst of reading The King of Crows and I'm really enjoying it, but I'm trying to take my time with it because it is the end of the series and we will be doing a live show for the Diviners Club for this book. So if you are not following us over on Twitter, you should, because we will be announcing it there once we have a set date. But yeah, I can't believe this series has finally come to an end. It's been, you know, one of my favorite YA series of all time. I think it's absolutely brilliant and it's just been really cool to get to rediscover this series. Now I want to talk about film and television. So I have a few film favorites from this past season. One is, of course, Little Women. I just loved Little Women with my whole entire heart. I think it comes out on digital in a few days and I cannot wait so that I can own it and just watch it over and over and over and over again. And it was really cool just getting to see this adaptation of the story that I think does such a good job of, you know, depicting the story but also, you know, doing something very fresh and new with it. And Florence Pugh is just everything to me. I feel like the main thing I'm thankful for Little Women for is introducing me to Florence Pugh. Her as Amy March was just effervescent, it was so good. And I of course love Saoirse Ronan, and I loved her Jo, and I loved what the film did with Jo's character. I felt like I related so much to it, and it just hit me hard. Every time I watch it I just bawl. So yeah, definitely a favorite, probably a lifetime favorite for me, that one. Another film favorite that I had recently is the Birds of Prey film. This is one that I was a little bit nervous about because I'm a big Birds of Prey fan and I love Barbara Gordon, and when I heard that Barbara Gordon wasn't gonna be in the Birds of Prey film, I was like, so then what's the point? However, after seeing it, I totally changed my mind. I kind of feel like it's a really good, it's not even a Birds of Prey film in a lot of ways. It felt like a prequel to a larger Birds of Prey film, which is what I'm hopeful that they're doing, and that Barbara Gordon will show up in that film. But yeah, I love Harley and I love the story that they created. I felt like they did something really fresh with the characters in the story, in that, you know, it felt reminiscent of a lot of the characters that I already love, but they definitely, you know, did something new with each of them. I think my favorite character in the film was Huntress. I loved that she was so socially awkward, and you see her being awkward and shy, or not shy, but unsure of herself, you know? You see her in her apartment practicing lines, but then you see her actually saying those lines in those moments where she's trying to be badass and actually being badass, and I loved that because I felt like it was so human. I don't know, I loved those little attentions to detail. Even I feel like Twitter was really into the hair tie moment in the film, which I was also very into. I will be honest, I wasn't 100% sure how I was gonna deal with it because I really didn't love Deadpool, and I had heard a lot of comparisons to the Deadpool film in this one. But even though I think that, you know, they're both rated R and they have some similar elements, I think they're very different. I think if you disliked I mean, I don't want to say I disliked Deadpool, like I thought it was bad. It just wasn't for me because I'm not really into like super raunchy R, like typically if a film is R-rated, like that's just like a no-go for me. Like I am baby, so I just tend to not do well in those films, and I didn't love Deadpool for those same reasons. And there were moments in Birds of Prey that I didn't do very well with. Like there was like one particularly gory moment that was like kind of icky, and I didn't love that, but outside of that I was fine in the film. And I feel like just mostly overall it was just like a lot of like girl power and badassness and fun, and I really loved it. I loved it like aesthetically and story-wise and character-wise. I loved like just where they're going with Harley's character and the Joker and all of that. I just, oh, so good, so good. Next, I of course have to talk about Sabrina, which had its new season premiere recently, and I loved it. Okay, my feelings on it are definitely not the same as like the first two parts or the first season. I feel like that arc was so good and was saying so many interesting things about like the patriarchy, and I really loved that. And I think this was definitely, part 3 was kind of a diversion. It was like, okay, we've sort of wrapped up this arc, now we're gonna build out this universe. And I will say it gets kind of batty, like it's a little wild, a little all over the place and very campy, but I kind of loved that. Like I really like camp, and I just feel like it does a really good job of kind of creating this silly, you know, magical, over-the-top show. And I've seen a lot of comparisons to Riverdale. I do not like Riverdale. I find Riverdale, my thing is like I don't mind the craziness of Riverdale. Like I don't mind that it's weird. My thing with Riverdale is that it's weird but it's also boring somehow, whereas I feel like I'm not bored in Sabrina, so I like it, you know? I wasn't a huge fan of what they did with Nick Scratch's character though, I'll be 100% honest. Like I wanted something else for him and for Sabrina, but other than that, I really loved the arc. And I loved Aunt Zelda and Aunt Hilda in it, and Ambrose. But yeah, I really enjoyed it overall, and I'm excited to see what happens in the next part, especially with like where it ends at the end of part 3. I'm just like, girl, what are you doing? Speaking of Netflix shows, this isn't really a favorite yet because it's not out yet, but today the Grisha series wrapped. So Shadow and Bone season 1 has finished filming. They posted a bunch of like updates, and the Shadow and Bone Instagram and Twitter accounts have gone live, and they're just active, and it's wild to see them like tweeting. I have notifications set for them on Twitter. They're literally the only account that I have post notifications on for, because I want to know the second that trailer drops, which I feel like I'm just gonna lose my damn mind when that happens, because like I literally started crying today, like literally bawling, because I just got so overwhelmed by all of the Shadow and Bone updates. Like all of the cast posted something today, and then they had this like video where all the cast like said hi, and it was so cute, and everyone looked so cute, and I cannot wait. I'm so excited. And it's wild to think like it's just the beginning. Like I feel like this fandom is already so active and intense, and it like the show hasn't even like aired. You know, there hasn't been a single trailer, a single set photo or promotional photo. Like this is purely just like the book fandom, and so I'm so excited to see like what happens with the Shadow and Bone Grisha fandom universe as the show airs and grows a fan base. I think that's gonna be so cool. It's also just like wild to see like the cast, you know, all of them are sort of like, for the most part, under like 10,000 followers on everything, and like you know that like in the matter of a year they're all gonna be like over 1 million and like famous. And that must be wild. Like I just think about that sometimes. Like what must it be like to be like on the verge of fame, and like knowing that like this thing's about to come out that's gonna be massive and might like make your entire life. Like that must be wild. So yeah, I'm really excited for all of them. I'm excited for Lee. I'm excited for this world and the series, and to be able to watch it come to life. I just cannot wait. Next, I want to talk about my favorite games. So I don't know how often I'll actually have a game to talk about, because I mean the only games I play are either on my phone or on my Switch, and I don't usually add many to my repertoire. but I recently got very deep back into Animal Crossing Pocket Camp because I am just living every day for Animal Crossing New Horizons to come out. We are so close to its release. I cannot wait. I ended up falling back into the world of Pocket Camp. I will say, like, Pocket Camp isn't for everybody, but I really enjoy it. I just kind of think it's like a nice thing to do, especially when I'm like listening to an audiobook or just like to chill out. It's been really helpful with like helping with my anxiety recently, and I love all like the events that they do. I don't know, I feel like it does a good job of giving me goals every day to like get through, like new goals and like new challenges and like new things to want to achieve. But basically the point of Pocket Camp, if you're not familiar, is that you are a camper and you join and you have your little campground and you earn bells and leaf tickets and all these little like crafting supplies to be able to build your camp and customize it and customize your outfit. And you meet all the Animal Crossing Pocket Camp campers who are also hanging out at this camp, and it's just very wholesome and a good time, and I like it. It's definitely no Animal Crossing, but it's as good as I got right now, so I'm playing that. Then of course I have to talk about all of my music darlings from the past season, and if you know me, you know what I'm going to be talking about first. It is of course BTS's Map of the Soul 7. This album, guys, is so good. First of all, I'm so proud of just how far they've come, how successful this debut has been. They've broken so many like of their own records, of like worldwide records. It's just been so good. Such a good launch. Ego is so good. I love Ego so much. J-Hope, my hope. Love him. I loved that song. It's so good. It's just like such a good like pump up song. 0 o'clock made me cry. It was so rude of them to put that right after because that was just like, I went like real fast. But I love that one. I listen to that one all the time just to like be emotional. I love it. I don't really like the Sia version as much. Is that bad to say? I'm not a big Sia fan, I'll be honest. So I prefer the regular version of On. Oh, I think my other favorite is Moon. I just like, it's so good. It also feels like very Korean. I don't know how to describe it, but it just like, it sounds much more reminiscent of like the K-pop that I grew up with as a kid almost, but like not. It's like very new. But that's what I love about this album, is that I feel like they do a really good job of mixing all these different kinds of genres and sounds together, and also like some of the sort of more traditional K-pop sounds, and they build something like totally new, and I just freaking love it. It's so good. Ugh, so good. Oh, I love the new Beach Bunny album. So good. I think my favorite is Miss California is one of my favorites for sure. It makes me like just want to throw everything away and move back to California. But I really love this album. It's definitely like the kind of album that I'm sad that I'm not listening to it while on a beach, because it's definitely like a beach album. I mean, their name is literally Beach Bunny, but the album is so good. Oh, and Kesha's new album, High Road, is just amazing. The first time I listened to it, I cried. It was so good. I think it's like, it's such a good like mix of like this new Kesha and like old Kesha. I feel like a lot of it was her like reclaiming her sort of party girl persona back, because I think people expect her to not be herself and to not be that girl because of the fact that she has gone through sexual assault and like has had this very public court case. And I love that she is like super non-apologetic about like, this is who I am and I'm just gonna be who I want to be and do what I want to do, and y'all can like keep up. So I love her, and I love this album. It's so good. I think my favorite on here is Cowboy Blues. That one hit me. It was very good. Then we have to talk about some fashion favorites. So first of all, I'm going to talk about a dress. I get asked about this dress every single time I wear it in a video, so I just kind of wanted to talk about it. It is this one, which I love. So this is a color blocked sailor top dress, and it has like these bishop sleeves and this purple tiered mini skirt, and it's like kind of a lazy fit in that it's like kind of oversized, but I love this dress so much. It's so comfortable, but I just think really cute, and I actually designed this dress myself. I often purchase clothes from this Etsy seller called Untude. I think that's how you say her shop name. I never actually asked. I should ask her one day. But I buy a lot of my clothes from her. I actually bought this dress from her too. This is just like a spaghetti sleeve dress that I've layered over a t-shirt. But yeah, I buy a lot of my clothes from her, and I love everything I get. I do a lot of custom orders because I've been buying from her for so long, and this was one of the dresses that I ordered from her, so I just wanted to talk about it because it is a favorite. I have wanted a dress like this for so long, and no one made anything that was like exactly what I wanted, and I one day was like, let me see if like I can just customize this, and she was totally willing to work with me to create all of my weird customizations. I was like, can I have ruffles? Can I have every section be a different color? And she was so nice and did all of it. So I just wanted to give her a shout out, and I'll link her shop in the description box below. She doesn't sell this exact dress, but she does sell lots like it. Another fashion favorite was New York Fashion Week this year, which is kind of weird to say, but basically I kind of went to New York Fashion Week this year. I was doing a like integration thing with Bumble, which was really cool because I love Bumble. I just really like that it's not just about like dating, it's just about like personal connections in general, which I don't know, I really like. So I was really excited to like work with Bumble, and basically they were doing this like New York Fashion Week thing, and so I've never done any sort of like New York Fashion Week event, but basically we went to like the area that New York Fashion Week is held, and I've never like gone to this area during New York Fashion Week, so I just had never experienced it. But basically what it is that just fashionable people go there, and then you have like 100 photographers just randomly there who are all sort of like asking to take your photo, who are like aggressively taking your photo, and it's wild and overwhelming. Like I was so stressed. I wish I had like filmed the experience, but I was just like so overwhelmed that I just didn't even think about it. But yeah, it's basically just like this very overwhelming experience with all these photographers taking our photos. We were all dressed in yellow, all of the creators that they were working with for this. It was also wild because I've never really done like an event like this where I wasn't with like bookish people. Like I was with like fashion people, and that was wild because I was like, I am not a fashion person. Like I love fashion, don't get me wrong, like I love fashion, and I take a lot of pride in building my aesthetic, but I don't think that my like style of fashion is like New York Fashion Week fashion, but everyone was like so nice and welcoming, and that was really cool just to like experience this whole different world from anything I had ever experienced. And I actually I got to work with a stylist who like styled me for the day. But anyways, when we were like in this area, this woman who was a photographer asked to take my photo, and I was like, I'm sorry, I have to go. I'm like following these people. So then she like followed me for a couple of blocks, and eventually I just like stopped and we took the photo. But I didn't really like hear her when she said like what she was taking the photo for. I was just like, again, I was very overwhelmed and just like blah. So anyways, fast forward a couple of hours later, and all of a sudden I am in the Cuts roundup for Fashion Week Day 2 as like one of the like New York Fashion Week's fashionable people. Which is just like both hilarious and wild to me, because like I am not one of New York Fashion Week's fashionable people. Like I'm not going to like a Marc Jacobs runway show, I'm not like sitting front row with Anna Wintour or anything like that. I love fashion. Like I would love to be more a part of like the New York City like fashion world, but I have no idea how to even like begin getting involved in that. So it's just wild to me to like have someone actually validate my style and you know, my look and everything at New York Fashion Week. That was crazy. So that was really cool. It was definitely like a once in a lifetime kind of experience. And I can, you know, now I can say, like, once upon a time I was in the cut for New York Fashion Week. They called me a fashionable person. So now I'm going to go into some beauty favorites. So one of my recent favorites is definitely this little guy right here. This is the Glossier Future Dew, and it is an oil serum hybrid. So the way that they describe this as basically you add it to the end of your skincare routine as like a final step to your skincare routine. To be honest, I don't really view this as skincare. I think it's really kind of more like a makeup item. Like, I think that this is a product that basically makes it look like you have a really good skincare routine without having to have a really good skincare routine. I mean, like, I have a very intense skincare routine and I take a lot of pride in it, but sometimes, you know, you're feeling a little bit dry, you're not feeling your glowiest, and this stuff is like glow in a bottle. It's great. So the way that I like to use this stuff is that I do a little bit of foundation and like half a pump of this stuff, and I mix it together and I apply that to my face, and I feel like it just gives my foundation a really natural, an even more natural look, and it gives my face like a lot of glow, and I love some glow. So if you're not into like really dewy skin, then like this is definitely not for you. But if you are into that sort of glass skin look, this is definitely for you. I think this is great. Then I have a couple of eyeshadow palettes I want to talk about. The first one is this one from Morphe. It is the 35i Icy Fantasy palette, and it is their pastel palette that they did in collaboration with Pony from Pony's Makeup. I love Pony and her channel and just her face. She's beautiful and her makeup is always amazing. I've been in the market for a good pastel palette for a while now, so when I spotted this one I was like, yes, that's the one. I really like this one, the color story of it. I will admit that I don't really use a lot of like these colors down here that much, like basically the darker colors, like the really deep purples, not really for me, but I love like this whole section right here, like basically the majority of the palette, just not really 3 colors I don't really use, and even those I sometimes use as just eyeliner. I love this silver glitter color, it's beautiful. And yeah, I've really enjoyed just playing with this palette for the past little while. It's my first time ever buying a palette from Morphe, and I didn't really know what to expect, but I think for the price it's really good. It's definitely not the best eyeshadow I've ever used in my entire life, and I think if you're not really adept at using pastel eyeshadows, this one might not be for you. I really like it because it makes getting that sort of wash of color look really easy. So a look that I do a lot is that I'll just do like one color and I'll like put it all over my eyelid and that's it. And I love doing that with just like picking a color for the day. I do think if you wanted a very intense pigment, you would just do like a white cream base underneath and, you know, get it that way. But for me, I really like the colors in here and the way that they show up. The other palette that I've been obsessed with, I just got this one, so I feel a little bad about adding it to my favorites already, but I love it so much, and I think it's gonna be my new everyday makeup palette, and it is the Sailor Moon palette from ColourPop. This collection unfortunately sold out as soon as it launched, and I'm really sad about that because I was literally on the site the second that it went live and I got kicked off. Like, their site crashed on me, and by the time I got everything back up, the blushes that I really wanted, I wanted the hot pink blush and both of the glitters had just completely sold out. So I was really sad about that, but I still picked up the palette and I truly do love this palette. It's absolutely beautiful. I will be honest, when I first saw this, I was like, I don't know, like I didn't really get it. I was like, that's really neutral. Sailor Moon isn't neutral. There are lots of bright colors in it, and after using it, like, first of all, 2 of these colors look neutral when they're not. These 2 right here, this one and this one, look like neutral colors, but they're actually like pastel-y neon shades, which is wild. They completely transform when you put them on your eye. I don't know the magic there, but somehow that happens. But I also think it does a really good job of reflecting like the color palette of the show itself, like all the pinks and purples, especially, you know, when they're around Tokyo and they're just showing like different parts of the city. Like this, I feel like does a really good job of encapsulating that look. I also love the packaging. I've heard like a lot of people complain about the packaging, that they wanted something cooler, like they wanted the actual makeup compacts, and my thing there is that that already exists and it's very expensive. I guess they could have done like cardboard versions of that, but yeah, if you go onto Yes Style, there's like a whole treasure trove of Sailor Moon makeup from Miracle Romance that is like literally they recreate all of the compacts and things from the show and like put makeup inside of it. I actually have one product. I have the eyeliner, and I love it. It's actually a really good eyeliner. So I really liked what they did with this. I liked that they did something different with, I definitely think this will be like my everyday makeup palette. Like it's just got all the colors for me. Like this yellow is amazing, and these pinks and purples are wonderful, and just like all the shimmers and everything. Ugh, it's just so good. It's such a, like, this is neutral for me, you know, this is an everyday for me palette, and I adore it. Absolutely love it. So that's a fave. And I also love the lip products that came in that collection. The first one is the blotted lip in Bunhead. With the blotted lip, I basically just use it like it sounds. I'll apply it to my lip and I'll blot it with a finger, and it just gives like such a perfect, like sheer, pretty color to your lips. And then the lip gloss I think is great. I mean, it's a lip gloss, there isn't much to say. I mostly got it because I wanted a lip gloss that was called Sailor Moon, and that's what this is. And the packaging is really cute, so can't really say much else about it, but I really like this duo. This has basically been the lip duo I've been wearing every day since I got it, because I just think it's really pretty. But anyways, yeah, those are all of my recent darlings, the things I have just been absolutely loving this past winter season. We are upon spring. It's coming. So excited. But yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys what you've been loving this past season, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!